Gielinor, the magical world of RuneScape. It's divided into chunks for easy use. Welcome to Chunkman Dead Die Kill, the series where I conquer the landmass of Gielinor by doing tasks and unlocking chunks.
Last episode we added 2 chunks to our total. Both chunks were unlocked by completing 25 medium clues, which means we now have opened 100 medium caskets in total. Our map expanded with the mountain west of the observatory and the northwestern part of Relica. After finally obtaining our whip last episode, it is time to put it to good use. The biggest reason why we were looking for the whip was because we wanted to use it at Chaos Elemental. If we look at our collections logged for the Chaos Elemental, we are currently at 100 kill count and we need to get to 250. We are still missing 2 drops from the drop table, which is the Dragon Pickaxe, which would be a very useful item to get, and the Pet Chaos Elemental. This is probably going to take a while to get 150 kills, but let's hope the new weapon does wonders for us and speeds the grind up a little bit. We are 3-iteming again, and with some super attack, super strength, and then just some lobsters. Let's get those 150 kills going, and let's hope we don't get PK'd too much. And there's kill number 150. The whip is doing its work, but it's not speeding it up by too much. We pretty much get about 10 kills an hour, so we've been at it for about 5 hours and we have 10 more hours to go. But all in all, it's still not as long as getting that whip. So it's all good, 100 more kills to finish the task, and hopefully we'll get something in the process. Oh, there's another Dragon Two-Hander Sword at kill number 177. I'll probably just bank this. We were bound to get a second one as the drop rate is like 1 in 128. So going for 250 kills, we are pretty much guaranteed to get it. But either way, we would like to get that 1 in 256 Dragon Pickaxe, of course. But a lovely drop nonetheless, and it's worth 132k in High Alch, so might be useful in that front. Another kill, another Dragon Two-Hander Sword. I think we only need 1 for Master Clues, and then maybe let's just keep 1, but I think I will alch this one. We are currently at 195 Chaos Elemental kills, so we are nearing the end of the task. Nothing much eventful happens. We've been killed by a PK a few times, but we're 3-iteming, so I really don't get why they are even trying to kill us. But oh well, it just loses us a bit of time if they do. Either way, 55 more kills to go, and then let's complete our task. There's 91 hit points while we are killing the Chaos Elemental. We are also halfway from the attack level, but we need 89 more and we only need 44 more Chaos Elemental kills, so we won't get that one just yet. And there we have it. Kill number 250 of the Chaos Elemental. We sadly did not get the Dragon Pickaxe, or the pet for that matter. But there's still other bosses that drop the pickaxe, so no worries there, we'll get it from one of those pretty guaranteed. And for the rest, we probably won't go back to the Chaos Elemental except for what you see here. For the combat task, the Flincher, when we get access to the chunk next to where it spawns. But for now, we have killed 250 Chaos Elemental. And for loot, it's not all that great, just the 3 Dragon Two-Hander Swords we have gotten. And for the rest, nothing really special. But that's another boss completed. So let's go back to our spreadsheet, complete that last KC task for the Chaos Elemental, and let's see which chunk we are going to get. Our 6th boss we have completed entirely. For the boss tasks, the Chaos Elemental 250 KC has been completed. That was our 29th boss task, and this now brings us up to a total chunk amount of 259. And then back to our map. The last chunk we unlocked was the western side of Relica, which we cannot actually access, and it now gives a possibility to unlock the main Relica chunk. It would probably be a good chunk to unlock, but we also need the chunk below it to actually access it. So currently, maybe not the thing we want to unlock. There are still a couple of very good chunks to unlock. Still waiting for that Caterpie chunk, which has been unlockable for so long. And the Barrows chunk, of course. But let's see. What is the chunk picker going to give us? Pick a chunk. Oh boy. Oh boy. The bottom part of Arandar. With the exit of the underground pass. So if you actually unlock the chunk over here, where we can start the quest line for the underground pass, we can actually get here. And then I think we need these 3 to get to Letia. Or something in those lines. But this is actually a terrible chunk to unlock, I guess, because we don't really have anything here. And it unlocks 2 chunks we cannot actually do anything with, so not the greatest chunk to unlock. For our next chunk, we actually have some options. As the Wilderness boss rework has just been completed and is now available in the game, we can go and kill the bosses for the first time. The problem here is that we do have access to the skeletal tomb here and the webchasm, so we could go and kill the lower tier bosses, but these do not count as kills for the actual stronger version instead of the singles version here. So that's not an option, which would have been fairly nice if those would be on the high scores as well, but sadly this is not the case for these 2, and the Hunter's End here for the smaller Callisto one is still locked. And then if we go a little bit up for the big bosses, you can see here Vettian's Rest is still in red. We have not unlocked the chunk. The same thing for the Silk Chasm, but we do have Callisto's Den unlocked. So that's one boss we can do for the first kill count, which should be fairly fast even with the bad gear we have. I brought some things that we don't mind losing. The big problem here is that, as you can see, the escape caves are all in the locked chunks, except for the bottom one. It's just within the chunk below it. So there's only 2 options to get out of here, and that's either to run and hope that this escape cave opens, or die. That's pretty much the 2 options we have. Knowing the Wilderness and this boss has just been released, we're pretty sure we're going to die. Hopefully not a PvP death, but that wouldn't be that bad as we really don't have that many items we don't want to lose. But a PvM death would mean that we could just reclaim all our stuff from that storage. So let's go and rag the boss a little bit. There's some people coming from the Task clan just to help me get that 1 KC, and then we'll probably dip. Maybe get a 2nd KC if we have enough supplies left. But let's see how this goes, as this is going to be a little special, as I have never done the boss, and the escape caves is a very interesting addition with these locked chunks here. Going in with 3 other clan members, and we started bolting Callisto. The boss is actually fairly easy if you know what you need to do. First off, you need to freeze the boss so it cannot melee you for high damage through prayer. The clanmates froze the boss so we wouldn't have to freeze it with binds for a very short amount of time. And then, as the boss cannot reach us, he uses a kind of wave-like attack, which we can fully negate by praying ranged. And this is pretty much used during the entire fight. Then, once in a while, he targets a single person with a comet-like magic attack, which is easily negated by praying magic. But if you do not, on the other hand, it pushes you back into the wall and damages you for more than a 50 if you stand directly next to a wall. You get less damage if you had some airtime before hitting the wall though, but still not a great position to be in. Then after a while we get the bear traps on the floor, which we just need to avoid stepping on. All in all, this was pretty fast and easy to get a first kill. So we decided to stay a bit longer and got up to 5kc. Then in the escape caves, I thought there was one exit that was going to be open, but apparently they are all open, so we could just escape through the one and only exit we had unlocked. And so back to safety we went. That was actually easier than expected. But we got the first Callisto kill count, even the first 5. So it might be a good option to do up to 50 kill count and then maybe 100 and even 250 to complete Callisto. So actually a great job they did with the rework of the boss. But for now we have killed Callisto one time, which finishes our 30th boss task. And we are now up to 260 landmass chunks unlocked in total. And then back to our map. The last chunk we unlocked was the bottom part of Arandar, which now gives us access to more of Terranwin or more of Arandar, which is not that great as we cannot actually get there and they don't really have anything in them either. But on the other hand, if we go to the wilderness, we would now have 2 very juicy chunks we could unlock. So either one of these would unlock more of the escape caves, which would be interesting in itself, but would give us access to another one of the wilderness bosses. And as we saw with Callisto, these are actually really good bosses to kill now. So we got more options than we have ever had before. And let's see if the chunk picker is willing to give us one of those good options. Let's pick a chunk. I guess not. We get the actual playing ground of pest control. This is actually not that bad, as if we unlock the actual pest control chunk, we can go for the Void Knight's armor, which is probably a pretty decent upgrade on some fronts. So not the greatest chunk to unlock regarding to what we can now do as new things, but it does unlock a possibility in the future to unlock some gear upgrades. Killing Callisto went really well, better than expected actually. So we could go and get to the next task of 50 kill count, but I'd like to change it up a little bit. And we do have other wilderness bosses left. We don't have the caves here for Vetjen and Venenatis, but we do have the smaller ones for Calvarian, I think this is, and then the smaller version of Venenatis. The thing is, we don't get anything out of getting kill count for them because they are not on the high scores. But if we look to the combat tasks, if we go to Vetjen for example, there are only 2 tasks. And they aren't actually that hard. It's only killing it 10 times and 20 times. and the smaller version should count for this. So this should be fairly easy to get those two done. That would bring us up to 58. And if we then would go to Venenatis, this is pretty much the same thing. 10 kills and 20 kills. And if we can do that on the smaller version, we could get to 60 combat tasks completed in total. We would of course still need to go to Venenatis themselves after we unlock the chunk. But we can worry about that after we actually unlock it. For now, let's first of all go to the small Vetian, as this is the closest to the Ferox Enclave and I've already seen some people kill it. So this should not pose that much of a problem. Well, this was not the best idea to do this on a Friday evening, I guess. And we actually did not do that much damage as well. So that was a little disappointing. I might just go back tomorrow morning instead. And we'll probably have to take something like a super attack and a super strength to be able to hit him much better than we do now. I thought this kind of shit gear was going to be enough, but apparently it isn't. Alright, we finally got our first Calvarian kill. This took about 8 to 9 minutes to kill, which is actually really stupidly long. So I think the gear we have is just not good enough. I'm not sure if another weapon would be better if we would have another attack style like Crush, but we don't really have a decent Crush weapon at the moment. And I don't really want to do this for 20 kills, as this is just going to take way too long. So let's maybe go to Spindle, the spider boss, the small one. And let's see what it's like over there. And let's see if we can get some combat achievements from that boss instead. Okay, we're out of prayer and we only got it half health, which is actually pretty bad. I thought these bosses were going to be easy enough for us to do, but apparently this is not the case. So we'll have to come up with another plan to get our next chunk. I had high hopes for this after we did the Callisto kill. So yeah, a bit of a shame that with our limited gear we cannot seem to be hitting the bosses fairly often, but okay. Let's see what we can do otherwise. That's going to be it for this episode. The Wilderness boss rework is really good for this account, even if we can't kill the smaller versions all by ourselves. With a few upgrades and a few more levels, that might change pretty quickly, and even though these smaller bosses aren't on the high scores, they were discussing the possibility of adding them in the near future. So that might even give us more tasks we will be able to do in the future. So all in all, a really good update that will speed up a couple of chunks we will unlock sooner than we would have before the update. Either way, have a good one and see you next time.